You talk a lot about people's relationships with the mirror and whether people love or hate the mirror. I wondered how much of an effect that has practically. Like, how does your relationship with the mirror affect the way you perform or achieve in your everyday life?
I think, just to talk about the mirror, I think it's one of marketing's, the business world's and the marketing's best tool that they've ever come up with, to be honest with you. Because the mirror, it has such power. Almost like the TV. You look in the mirror and what you see is a reflection. And not everyone, but when somebody is really truthful, they will say that the reflection of what they see, they don't like. You put a woman in front of a mirror, or maybe a man, I would say probably to the both. And what they see is a list of negatives almost immediately. It's not the positives. They've come to understand that it's a negative response. Oh my goodness, my hair looks so bad. Oh, my makeup's not right. Oh, my bum is so big. Oh, like I need to do this. And it becomes negative, negative, negative. It's a negative connotation completely throughout the process of looking, to the point where people have become conditioned that when looking into the mirror, they block out almost everything that they see aside from the things that they really want to see, which is, well, my face is okay, so we just work on the makeup and that's it. Oh my goodness, my hips are so big. It's so negative, and the mirror, the reflection is everywhere. So it's not like, it's not like you've never walked down the street before and you've gone past a window that shows a reflection and you look and you check yourself out. I mean, this is life. Everyone is checking themselves out. But what the reflection is doing is constantly supporting a negative image, which is, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough. And this coincides with other things that we've seen through TV and media and so on and so forth. So we're constantly badgering ourselves or down-talking ourselves and becoming very, very negative. You're going to keep doing this on a constant basis every single day. It's like telling your child when they're growing up every day, you're no good, you're no good, you're not attractive, you're ugly, you'll be nothing, you'll be no good, you're worthless, and you do that every day to the child. The child will grow up with absolutely low self-esteem, no confidence, and become exactly what you've told them, nothing. Unless there's, some internal fire that really wants to push them past that. But for the most part, on an average, that's what you're going to get. Well, this is what's happening with people on a day-to-day basis. I meet women, men that are young, 24, 25 years old, and they look amazing. But if you ask them how they feel, they've just come out of a 1-week bout of depression where they didn't leave the house because they think they're unattractive, that they're ugly. And what are they basing that on? The air? No, they see themselves in the mirror one morning, they see their face is a little bit puffy, maybe they're having their period, something just changes inside of them and they feel ugly. And it changes their whole demeanor in life. The power of the mirror, in a negative way, if we allow it to be that way, is disastrous. It destroys people, it puts us to sleep, it puts us into a negative spiraling downhill slope, But the power of the mirror, if used in the right way, can be most amazing. Because by looking into the mirror and seeing oneself, by really looking at oneself and realizing that the reflection is really you, like if you can't handle what you're seeing, you're basically saying you can't handle you. You don't like you, which has to change, which kind of goes along with, being selfish. You need to look at yourself and put that effort into yourself. But if you can use the mirror and look at yourself and start to create supportive ideas, like saying that you're beautiful, talking the positive, and instituting a belief system that becomes encouraging, where you can look into the mirror and basically talk to yourself and say the positive things, you're beautiful, or I love you, or you can do anything. If you can do that on a day-to-day basis and finally look into the depth of who you really are, what will end up happening is that you'll discover that you'll be speaking to yourself like speaking to your child. You will be speaking to yourself in a positive way, which will, over time, will support a positive belief, so that when you are walking down the street, rather than seeing a reflection of you that says negative, it will say to you what you've been saying to it, I love you, or you're amazing. And to walk through the streets every day feeling like you're amazing, that you're powerful, that you're worth something, that you can be anything, is more powerful and more positive, and can accomplish much, much more in life, in everything, in every aspect of life, when you know that there's the confidence behind you, than looking in a mirror and it telling you that you're no good. So, if you want success, regardless of what success is for you, Success is going to start with you, and that is the power of believing in your own self. And the power is going to start by looking at the reflection and loving exactly what it is that you see. I'll make one note on this, because I see this often. I see people who look in the mirror that, without a doubt, if they can do it and look at themselves and say something positive, which a lot of them can't, they get to a point where they just can't handle it. It's a very negative experience for them. But let's just say we take a woman and we put her into the window, or a man, and we take a picture of them as they look in the mirror. We take a picture and we say, okay, well, how did you feel at this moment that you're looking at yourself? Be honest and tell me what you really felt. And they list off the negatives. Oh, I feel fat, and my stomach is so big, and I'm just not happy with myself. I'm not happy in my skin. I'm really blah, blah, whatever the case is, and we write it down. And then, we look, fast forward life 2 months down the road, and God forbid something happens, but they get into an accident, all right, and their face is disfigured or scarred, or they lose their limbs, or anything happens to them out of what, would be a disaster. And we come back to them after that experience where they're in a hospital bed, they don't have their legs or whatever, and we show them that picture. And we say, you see this picture? At that moment, they will see that picture and say to themselves, would they not, that they would give anything to be in that position? So when someone's looking at themselves at their worst and they feel that they're not lovable, they're not great, they're not worthy of anything, you take that situation and put them into a much worse situation, and they will always want to come back to this. We don't value what we are today. We don't see where we are today because we're always looking for bigger and better things. So this is the power of the mirror. The power of the mirror and seeing oneself at this time in the here and the now, and seeing the power that we possess and the beauty that we have regardless of what we look like, and accepting that can only create a more loving and powerful, positive in the future.